Part 1. You will hear a man speaking on the phone to a sales assistant at a toy company. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 6.
Hello, Ramona Toys. You're through to Tracy. How can I help you?
Good morning. I want to buy birthday presents for my sister's children. She's very keen on educational toys. Do you sell that sort of thing?
Yes, actually we specialise in those types of toys. How old are the children?
Well, Peter, he's the oldest. He's going to be 9 next week.
Did you have anything particular in mind for him?
I got him a jigsaw last year, but I'd like to get him something a bit more challenging this time. Perhaps something he could make himself.
How about a model truck? Might that be any good? It's made of wood. It comes in a kit, so you get all the pieces, and then there are the electrical components.
Oh, it's not just mechanical then?
Oh no, it's quite sophisticated. It's recommended for children over 8, and you also get a sheet of stickers to decorate it.
That sounds just up his street, and I'm sure it'd help him to understand technology, even if it's only basic.
Well, yes, and it is a change from the chemistry sets we used to get.
Oh, you had one of those too, did you? What about price?
It's £17.50.
It's not too expensive then. I could get him something else as well. He's always been interested in animals.
How about a book about jungle animals?
I think he's already got one.
OK. Well, how about a bird feeder instead? That's a kit as well. You even get some paints and a brush so you can decorate it how you like.
Well, that sounds just the thing. And it'd give him contact with wildlife.
Oh, I've just noticed something else in its favour. It's only $8.99 now. It's been reduced from $14.50.
Even better. I'm sure my nephew would like both those things. Now, I've also got to find something for Natalie. That's his sister. She's going to be 6 soon.
Well, one item that we've just added to our catalogue is a chocolate pack.
That doesn't sound very educational. Don't you just eat it?
Not straight away. It's a kit for making individual chocolates. You heat the chocolate and pour it into special moulds. They're provided as well. And you also get some little boxes to put the chocolates in once you've made them.
Oh, I see. I suppose it helps to develop artistic skills then.
Yes. And it says here that it helps children to understand how temperature can affect things. Seeing chocolate melt and solidify, I suppose. It's just £6.
OK, that's great. Thank you for all your suggestions.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 7 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 7 to 10.
Can I just ask you about ordering?
Well, you can order by phone if you like, or we have a website.
Oh, can you give me the web address, please?
Of course. It's very simple. It's just www.ramona.com.
How do you spell that? Is it REMONA?
It's RIM at the beginning.
Ah, okay.
And then, as you already know what you want, you could just do a search.
Okay.
Oh, and I've just seen here, if you order the things before Friday, you don't have to pay for postage. There's a special offer on at the moment.
Oh, good. And I'd probably get the presents sent straight to them. So, can I get them wrapped?
You can. Click on Packaging Options, and you just select Gift by ticking one of the boxes. Then it'll be wrapped specially.
Okay. But how will they know who the things are from? Will I be able to send a message?
Yes, you can. That option's on the same menu.
Okay. Well, thanks very much. I'm sure they're going to love all their...
That is the end of part 1. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to part 1.
Part 2. You will hear a tour guide give information on several places of interest in the area. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
We have some interesting places for you to visit. A well-rounded trip should always include several historical sites. A good place to start is the city's Chamber Museum. They cover a wide range of subjects, from art to space exploration. Be sure to save time to see a 3D movie at the museum. There's no charge to see it, which is nice. Take some time when you first go in to look at the map of the museum and plan to see the areas that interest you most. There are so many to see. If you like monuments, Harris Park is well worth a visit. But do plan to walk a lot, as the monuments are quite spread out. The ideal time to see them is after the sun has gone down, when they are illuminated. The contours of the monuments really stand out against the dark sky, and it's less crowded, so there's more space to stand back and view them. A visit to the State Building is always a good idea. It is one of the more classically designed buildings. However, because of increased security, the State Building is open to the public for official guided tours only. These take place Monday through Saturday and last 2 hours. Visitors must obtain tickets, which are available either at the entrance or online. Visitors are allowed to attend the High Court. This is in session Monday through Wednesday until noon. The seating is very restricted in the viewing area because the chairs are still the beautiful carved high back ones that are quite large. So arrive at least an hour early. Reservations aren't possible. Castle Mount is a 14-room mansion featuring 18th century portraits and landscapes. It's situated on a 500-acre estate. It is an interesting tour, especially with the recent addition of the new museum and the state-of-the-art galleries.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
For those of you who are interested in fun and relaxing things to do, Watertown has plenty to offer. Highlights include the King Center, where theatrical productions are live entertainment at their finest. You can see a free show at the Main Stage Theater every night around 6. Sometimes they do a scene from a popular movie. There is also a restaurant on site, the Roof Terrace, which offers interesting international dishes prepared by a local chef. If you like live music of any type, including pop, country, folk and blues, dance, or opera, you should check out a concert at T Park. It has always been popular, and traffic can be really bad, but the recent introduction of a round-trip bus service for summer performances has made this attraction even more popular. They have had to put on more outdoor concerts. Parents will still have to drive their children to the sing-along shows in the mornings. Marytown is another popular spot and is home to a university. Chances to hear a lecture are limited, as they are usually restricted to students and professors. But this week, they're holding a series of open lectures for visitors. Most visitors love its cobblestone streets, lined with old houses. The area is also a wealthy shopper's paradise, with lots of upscale stores. Don't expect discounts here. While in that neighborhood, the 18th century canal offers a place to relax from the sounds of hectic city life. You can simply stroll along the canal path or watch local fishermen. Lots of tourists take a packed lunch along and eat it sitting on the grass. I should mention that the Park Service no longer offers guided canal boat rides, but you can explore the region's bike trails that go alongside the canal. Please note, though, that the bike rental places are located in town. Well, that's about it. I really encourage you to visit at least a few of these sites. As usual, in any big city at night, it's best to move about with a friend or in a group. Some sites are too far to walk, so some people use public buses. But it is better to take a cab or a hotel shuttle bus. This might sound odd, but be sure to carry some water with you wherever you go. Our summers here are very humid.
That is the end of Part 2. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to Part 2.
Part 3. You will hear a third-year student called Emma talking to a first-year student called John about the work experience John must do as part of his software engineering course. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 24.
Hi, John. You wanted some advice about the work experience program?
Yeah, I wanted to check I've understood what I'm supposed to do.
Sure.
For a start, we have to work for a company in the holidays between the first and second year, and again between the second and third year, right?
Yes, usually you do around 50 days with 2 different employers, like 100 days in total.
I see. You know, there's one aspect of the work experience program I'm unhappy with. I mean, considering we have to attend a preparation course for it, and that it's a big investment in terms of time,
What's the problem?
just the fact that no matter how well we perform on the program, it makes no difference whatsoever to our final grade for our degree. It goes unrecognised.
I know, but there are lots of advantages too. Anyway, when does your preparation course for the work experience start?
Soon, we're starting with a session on interview technique, how to respond to questions, that stuff.
That can be useful, but I remember we had to make up a list of things we wanted to achieve during the time with the employer. That was a bit pointless.
My thoughts exactly. You can't decide on your aims until you've started work for real.
The tutor will give you some good advice about presenting your resume, though, so don't miss that session.
OK. When the work experience starts for real, it would be great if I could actually do a bit of software design.
That's highly unlikely on a work experience course. You'll be doing more basic things than that. But they might start you off on the IT help desk. That's often where they need extra people. But then you'll move on to work in areas that suit your field of study. I mean, whatever you focused on this year at college, you need to be able to put it into practice during work experience. There has to be a match.
And then we do work experience again after we finish our second year, right? I saw somewhere you can expect to earn between $20 to $25 per hour. I suppose that's roughly what recent graduates get.
Yes, not bad.
But I also read employers don't necessarily have to pay you anything, because you're not technically a real employee when you're doing work experience.
Correct, but I haven't heard of that happening to anyone.
Unless you do IT work for some kind of volunteer organisation. I'd like to do that kind of thing, but not with my financial situation.
Right.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 25 to 30.
OK, and once I've decided which company I want to do my work experience with, what's the process? Do I have to fill a form out first, saying why I'd be interested to work for the company and what kind of qualifications I have?
Yes, you can ask your tutor for a standard one to use, or download one off the department's website.
OK, then after that, do I have to sign something with the employer, like something that guarantees I'll be given the work over a specific period of time?
Actually, the next stage is you checking with the college that the kind of work you're applying for is appropriate. So you'll need to send them a brief outline of what your responsibilities will be.
All right.
And then, if the college approves, they'll speak to the company and get the name and email address of the managers that'll be in charge of you.
OK, so after that, is there some kind of interview?
No, but the company are legally responsible for you. And they don't want you getting hurt by any equipment, so they'll set up a meeting.
So we can talk about accident prevention and that kind of thing.
Exactly. And once you've started, remember to keep writing down what you had to do every day. Be detailed, so you can show which skills you developed.
Right. And at what point might I receive a payment?
Not sure, but once it's over, the college sends the employer a form, which they can choose to fill out or not, about how well you did and what they recommend you focus on next time.
Do the tutors actually...
That is the end of Part 3. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to Part 3. Part 4. You will hear a university lecturer talking about 3 theories of intelligence and their implications for how we learn. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Today I'm going to consider 3 theories of intelligence and look at their implications for studying effectively while you're here at university. Early psychologists such as Spearman in the 1920s believed that each individual has a single general level of intelligence, known as the intelligence quotient, or IQ. According to that theory, we're born with a certain level of intelligence, which is inherited from our parents, and our intelligence remains constant throughout our life. It follows that any intelligence test we do at any time will give broadly similar results. If this is true, it suggests that there isn't much you can do to make yourself more intelligent, since it's a genetic feature. You wouldn't be able to perform any better in your studies than you do now. Most of the evidence for the genetic origin of intelligence has come from studies of twins, which show a considerable similarity in their intelligence. However, other psychologists have interpreted the findings of this research differently, arguing that genetic influence plays only a small part in our intelligence, or even no part at all. Their theory says that the similarity in intelligence between the subjects used in such studies may have an environmental rather than genetic origin. These psychologists point out that children brought up in the same family are likely to have experiences which are very similar. This, rather than their genetic inheritance, may be the main reason why they have similar levels of intelligence. Take the case of the Ravens test, an intelligence test used to measure abstract reasoning ability. The Ravens test was designed for use with people of any language, age, or country, so in theory, a person's result shouldn't be affected by where they grow up. Yet some research using Ravens into children who moved home and lived in another culture found that after a few years, there was a significant improvement in their results. In other words, our intelligence isn't fixed. An alternative view, which is significantly different, is that we have multiple intelligences, not one general one. In the 1990s, Howard Gardner claimed that there are at least 7 separate intelligences. The list includes what you might expect, such as linguistic and logical skills, and also other, less traditional ones, such as a category of musical abilities. Research in neuropsychology suggests that different cognitive abilities, such as speech, may be partially independent of each other and controlled by different circuits within the brain. Support for this theory comes from the fact that some people show a weakness in one particular area. For instance, some find it very difficult to recognize someone's face, while they may have no problem remembering names. This apparent variation in strengths and weaknesses within one person supports Gardner's view that intelligence is multiple rather than general. Gardner suggests that the various intelligences don't operate in isolation from each other, and instead that interaction between them creates a far more complex picture and greatly increases what we can achieve. If this is the case, and it seems likely, we can consciously use this knowledge in our own approach to studying and learning. If you develop a sense of rhythm, this can improve not only music and dance, as you would expect, but also areas that aren't obviously linked. Spelling, for instance. If you need to learn a chemical formula or law of physics by heart, turn it into a song. It doesn't matter at all if you're out of key, but it'll be easier for you to learn it. That's just one way of using multiple intelligences to make studying easier and much more fun. Now, let's go on to...
That is the end of Part 4. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to Part 4.